The enemy attack us the most now our mind. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Who's gonna buy from me?
There were times that you were hearing this voice that was like, girl, you never gonna make it.
Most times we have to change our circle. They'll keep you down.
Burnout is so real, and so many people are burning out.
What is one thing that you did in your business to help you to scale to the next level in your business?
One of the things I had to do,
You're watching one of the OG episodes of Wisdom to Wealth. Back when Star was doing this all solo. No me, no hype woman, and that straight up whack. Well, the episode isn't whack. Star's interviewing the wealthiest entrepreneurs in the world, sharing their journey from zero to wealth. Don't worry though, we'll be back with fresh new episodes in just 2 weeks. So consider this a little throwback before the glow up.
Welcome to Wisdom to Wealth. I'm super excited. We are back with another episode. This is the podcast where we interview the wealthiest business owners in the world. They have either made $1 million in their business, $500,000, or they've even made $250,000 in their business, and they're going to share their journey from zero to wealth. I'm Shamara Star Cox. I'm your host. I'm a TV producer and a marketing coach. I help 6-figure and 7-figure business owners create binge-worthy content that increases their reach, leads, and their sales. I'm also the founder of the Convert Content to Cash Challenge. So if you're a business owner and you want to learn how to create content that sells, go ahead and comment the word challenge accepted. I'll send you a personal invite to the challenge. Today we have the wonderful guest, Anne-Marie Capel. I hope that, girl, I should have asked you how to pronounce your last name. Did I say that right?
It is Capel. You did. You did a
Capel.
good job
Yes,
at
I
it.
did good. We have Dr. Anne-Marie Capel. She is a transformational leader, organizational psychologist, and a mindset strategist. And that's the part that I'm looking forward to us going into, having conversations about mindset strategies. As the founder and CEO of Alpha Consulting and Coaching, LLC, she specializes in helping individuals break through limiting beliefs and shift mental models to unlock their fullest potential. I think this episode is going to be so rewarding because there are a lot of business owners that get stuck in their business because of limiting beliefs, because of fear, because of the stories that they have been telling themselves. But you specialize in helping them to get over that hurdle so that they can break through. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, Shamar.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's go right into your journey. Take us from your journey from when you started to where you hit your first quarter mil or first half a mil.
Okay, so my journey has been like most people, a little bit of a roller coaster. Left corporate after being burnout. At the time, I didn't understand I was burning out. I just know I didn't want to go back anymore. I know I was just feeling totally exhausted, and didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. I was in the Wall Street area. It was very stressful. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. And so I decided I wanted to really, I had a look already of the organization from the inside, and I wanted to know what it looked like from the outside looking in to understand the mind of the organization and how leaders think, and how can I help some of those executives who are going through the same thing that I was leaving. And that's when I shifted and went into organizational psychology. Once I did that, I realized being in corporate is really not what I wanted to be. And I wanted to get my own practice started. So I started, stopped, kind of decide it's going to be a side hustle. You go through all of these different transition. And at one point, I realized I really love coaching. I really love coaching. I started off with some life coaching at first, and then I branched off into, life coaching with the mindset, being like that mindset strategist to really helping people with their mind, because that's where we get stuck. That's where, the enemy gets, that's where he attacked us the most with,
Mhm.
our self-worth and all that good stuff. And so I was getting at times, girl, you think you can really do that? You think you can really be a business? You think you can really be a CEO? But I know deep down, I always wanted to be my own boss. I
Mm.
always want to be in control of my own time. And in order for me to have that time and money freedom, I know I had to make the sacrifice of going into getting my own business started. And that's what I did. Um, then a great opportunity came, and I transitioned to Hawaii for a while, where I was coaching, military leaders. And that the love for coaching just grew from there. And once I returned back to the stateside, I decided this is it. I'm just going full throttle into Alpha Consulting, and that's where I'm going to stay. And so the business just started to grow, word of mouth. I started to get new clients. My experience was just growing. I was working with different clients, and I went from in coaching and empowering women to the C-suite and started working with a lot of executives, and that's when I started working with executives, is when I really started to see uh, you know uh, the results started happening. As far as the financial piece of it is when it started to grow. And it just didn't stop from there. It just kept going. You had your moments, you up, you down, you up. And right now I feel like I'm on a very upward trend, and I'm just working my way up to where the Lord's going to take me. I know he has great plans for me, because it specifically states, right, he know the plans that I have for you. So I know that great doors have been opening. Things have just been growing exponentially, and I'm like super excited and grateful all at the same time as to where this business is going.
I just love your journey and I love your story. And I think it is so powerful. There was something that you said when you started to talk about the mindset. You said there were times that you were hearing this voice that was like, girl, you're never going to make it. It's never going to work for you. Right. And then you had said, like, sometimes the enemy is playing on your mind. So for each level that you hit in your business, how did you overcome these negative thought processes?
For each level that I hit, my confidence just grew. I saw who I was,
Mm-hmm.
right? I saw what I brought to the masses, to my
Mm-hmm.
clients, and I knew what my worth was, and I know I can be paid well for my worth. So I had to get to that place where I said, is this facts or is this the story you're telling yourself? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, as business owners or individuals, period, we tell ourselves that story. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to buy from me? Who's going to pay the price, right? We tell ourselves all these stories. And I said, put it on trial. Is
Yeah.
this fact? Or is this the story you're telling yourself? And if it's not a fact, and it's the story you're telling yourself, then we need to close the case and throw it out. And
Yeah.
that's what I started doing. Just those cases are closed, they're thrown out, they sealed, and just keep it moving, because there's greatness locked up inside of you. And greater is coming. Just keep moving, keep going. The more you give, is the more the doors are going to be open to you. I love to I do some pro bono as well, because I feel, even I'm a tither, and I feel even in my time and my work, I feel tithing some of that also brings the increase. And so that's, whenever I feel like I'm hitting those and I'm on a low, I have a coach. Just know that even though I'm a coach, I have a coach.
Right.
And I will go talk to my coach, and it's like, you know what, I'm at this point, and this is like, keep going. Just keep, don't look at the whole steer.
Mm-hmm.
Take it one step at a time, because a lot of times we look at the entire staircase and then we just freeze, right? Or we get analysis paralysis. It's like, no way I can do this, no way I can grow this business. But when you take one step at a time, the moment you look up, you're already at the top, and you're looking to elevate a little higher. And so those are some of the ways that I found myself not getting in my own way, because I think that's something, as that happened to Star, we
Mm-hmm.
get in our own way.
Mhm. Mhm. That is so good. And we have some people, I know you can't see a lot of their comments. We have some people who are watching on Instagram right now, and they're like, they can totally relate to your story of having these negative thoughts. They're saying that what the tip you shared was very motivating, being able to put that thought on trial. And I think oftentimes as business owners or just people, period, we don't take those thoughts captive. Right? Like that's actually what scripture says. Scripture says to take the thought captive and to cast it down, right? And a lot of times we just allow the thought to fester. So I love that you shared this tip. Like, no, put it on trial. Is it fact or is it a story that you're telling yourself? And oftentimes it's a story that we're telling ourselves, and we've built up enough evidence to start believing that it's a fact, but it's not. It's not. It really is just either the enemy or just some healing that you need to overcome. I like that you talked about how confidence played a role. Like each time you hit a new level in your business, your confidence helped to overcome those thoughts. So I just thought that was super powerful. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this question. Oh, did you want to share? Did you want to add anything before I ask you?
I just kind of lost my train of thought. I was gonna share something else with you, with the mind. That story. We have to begin to look through some different lens.
Yeah.
And another thing, Star. Sometimes, most times, we have to change our circle.
Mhm.
Because if everybody in your circle is not going in the same trajectory, they don't have the same vision or similar vision to you, then they'll keep you down. I knew that I was an eagle, so
Mhm.
I couldn't hang out with turkeys anymore.
Come on,
I couldn't
Eagle.
hang out with the naysayers and the Debbie Downers. I had to soar, because when you're an eagle, you have an aerial view. If you hanging out with someone who don't have that type of vision, they can only see this far. But I needed to go higher, because I had to see where the Lord was taking me, and I had to have that vision. In order to do that, I had to soar, to be able to have that aerial view. But the thing is, a lot of us, depending on the environment we were in, depending on who spoke negatively over our lives, whether it's at children, at school, and then we start, those filters start, coming in, and we start, as a funnel, right? I always like to make this analogy. It has that big side.
Mhm.
As a child growing up, that's where we see through. That's the lens that we see through, that big side of the funnel, right? They can be anything. I can be this, I can be, right? I'm sure you were there, and everyone who listening was there at some point. And then as those filters start coming and people start saying, girl, you think you're smart enough? You're writing a book. Who's going to read that book? You starting a business. Who's going to buy from there? You're
Mhm.
doing what? And then the funnel starts flipping.
Mhm.
And then you start seeing through that narrow part of the funnel. So you begin having more of a myopic view of the world and of yourself. And that's when you start to recline. And then the fear of failure starts
Ooh.
coming. And fear, I would say, FEAR, right? Is face everything and rise. That's my acronym for it. Most times what people do, they forget everything and they run, because the fear is crippling. But you have to get past that and knowing who you are, and most importantly, whose you are.
Ooh, that's so good. Fear, face everything and rise. I had to go ahead and drop that in the chat for others to see it. We have people on Instagram saying that this is very deep. Everything that you are sharing, especially because there are a lot of business owners where they want to hit $1 million in their business. They want to hit 500,000 in their business. But right now, they may be stuck at only getting one or two clients. They may be stuck even just in the sales process trying to sell because in their mind they feel icky about it. In their mind they don't think they're worth it. In their mind they don't feel like they can actually do it. But you're actually sharing, one, doesn't matter what success level you are, you're always going to experience some type of negative thought process, but it's important that you take action and actually capture those thoughts, put those thoughts on trial, understand what fear truly is, understand what circle you have. Like, I always love that tip when people share to take note of your circle, change your circle if you need to. Every time I want to go to the next level in my business, I always change my circle, because the same people who are around you helping you get to one level is not going to help you get to the next level, especially if they don't have that eagle eye view. And I love that you shared that. Are you an eagle or a turkey? So for those of you who are watching, I had dropped it in the chat. Are you an eagle or a turkey? I loved when Anne Marie brought that up. That was powerful. So let me ask you.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add something there, that I just had a really good thought around that, but it'll come back to me.
Oh, when it comes back to you, feel
Mhm.
free to like just cut me off and just ask it. It may
Mhm.
even come back to you while you're answering this question here, right? So, as a business owner, how do you stay aligned with your purpose and values while you grow your wealth and your influence?
Yeah. My core values are very important to me. So there's some business opportunities that I'm definitely going to say no to. I don't grab at everything.
Mhm.
In sales, in financial sales, I did that a long time ago as a financial advisor. And in the beginning, they tell you anything that fogs the mirror, right? You try to close them. I can't do that, because I have my ideal clients. I and there are certain non-negotiables with me that I know I'm not going to tolerate. It's not just about the money. It's about the service that I bring, and that's gonna translate into the money. So
Yeah.
I don't run after the money,
Mm,
chase after the money. I chase after giving good service to
mm,
my clients, great customer service, ensuring that they get the outcome. Over under promise maybe and over deliver, and
mhm.
that's where I stay in alignment with what I do and don't get into anything that's unethical or anything that will take me away from my purpose or my core values.
I love that. And this is sounding like you also have to be self-aware. Like you
Oh,
have to be self-aware and you got to know your worth. And this is how you're really going to be able to stay in alignment with your purpose and your values.
and one of the biggest things that I speak to my executives about is emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
You have to have your emotional intelligence intact,
Mm,
because that the first competency in emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So you need to be aware first. How am I showing up? Am
mm,
I present? Am I aware of others?
mm,
You have to be in that state of awareness. And even as you're working with your clients or even engaging with people around you, whether you're out there networking or whatever you're doing, am I showing up as that empathetic leader? Even if you don't have a business star and you are a leader in the workplace,
mhm,
are you showing up as an empathetic leader?
mm,
Are you creating psychological safety
mhm,
for those around you?
mhm.
Are you open enough that people know that Star creates this safe space for me, so I feel comfortable in her presence?
Right.
So all of these things are really, really important, in that's being in that state of self-awareness, knowing. And a lot of time we got to do a pause and reflect. Like,
Mhm.
how am I doing today? How am I feeling today?
Yeah.
Sometimes I may have to say, okay, I may have to reschedule some of these because I don't think I'm feeling my best self.
Mhm.
Because every day I want to show up as my best self for my client, regardless of what I'm going through. I have to show up as my best self. And that's what we want to do as business owners. We can't be up today, down tomorrow, but we got to consistently be present and show up as our best selves.
Yep, and not just business owners, because you pull that out. You were like, even if you don't own a business, as a leader, period, right? Like you have to
Absolutely.
show up as your best self. And I really love that you touched on being present. How important is being present to having your emotional intelligence and being able to serve others?
Extremely important. I'll take it from a leader perspective, or even as a business owner. Picture me having a client in front of me and then my phone ring and I'm like, hey, how you going? Hold on a second. People actually do that type of stuff,
Mhm,
right? Turn off your phone, turn off the distractions from
mhm,
around you, so
mhm,
what you could be fully present with this client, and be, because what to do as a coach, you want to listen to what they're not saying,
Yeah.
because you want to really tap into those pain points to
mhm,
see what are they not saying. And as a coach, I say this: I like to share with my clients the things that they don't want to hear but they need to know.
yeah.
Because you can't sugarcoat things. You got to be, if you want them to get that outcome that they're looking for, you have to be real, right?
Mhm,
And so being present, if you're not present, then you're not actively listening. And so you got to actively listen so you can really hear. You got to look at the body language, right? You got to be
mhm,
that observer. And it's the same exact thing for a leader. If you're in the workplace and one of your direct reports show up to you and you're like, oh, yeah, and you're typing away, okay, can you come back in a few minutes? Because no, if you know that you're busy in that moment, you said, look, in the middle of something, can you give me 15 minutes when I
yeah,
could just give you my undivided attention?
yeah.
Because then that allows that person to feel appreciated, that
Mhm,
allows that person to feel heard. And
mhm,
a lot of times that doesn't happen, and then people leave feeling no, they don't feel safe in that
mhm,
psychological space. And
mhm,
so as leaders, I know we, it's business here, but we are leaders even as business owners, right?
yeah.
That we need to be able to show up and be present for whoever we are engaging with.
I love that. And this is the second time you brought up that psychological space, creating a safe space. What is one tip that a leader or business owner can implement in order to create this safe space for their team members or even for their clients?
Yeah, make for as a leader, I would definitely say ensuring that they're able to support them, because
Mhm.
a whole person comes to work every day. They come to work, there might be a divorce situation happening, there might be a childcare situation happening, there might be a sick parent, because we have this sandwich generation right now, right? Where you have the parents that a lot of people are taking care of, and then they have children, so they're in the middle. That's sandwich generation.
Mhm.
And as a leader, you want to be empathetic and aware enough to see, if you know, I come into work every day and I'm like, hey, good morning, Star, how's everything going? And I come into work this morning, I was like, hey, and I just went, and you're like, okay, when is that report going to be ready?
Mm.
You know, you saw a shift in
Mhm.
my whole aura and personality, and you weren't aware enough to even tap into asking, like, is everything okay? Do you have a moment? And then if I trust you enough as a leader, so that's the other thing, you have to be able to build trust with your people,
Yes,
with
yes.
your clients, so that they can open up. I have to build trust with each and every one of my clients,
Mhm.
because they like, I don't know who you are. I'm coming in front of you. I paid for this service. So there will be, some little, reservations in the beginning, but I have to be able to help them to feel safe. And I always say, I create a safe container here for you,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
safe space, so you can be vulnerable. It's okay. This is a non judgmental zone.
Mhm.
This is 100% confidential, so you don't have to worry. They start opening up, they start opening up more. And then that trust start to be built.
Yeah, I love that. Building that trust is super
Go back to you.
important.
Yes, just ensuring that we burnout, as I say, burnout is so real right now. And so many people are burning out to the point, they're starting to have all that brain fog and brain fatigue. And post COVID, it just got worse, right? During COVID, it was happening. I think a lot of people didn't realize it was. But post COVID, and especially some people having to return to the workplace, there's probably less manpower, and more projects are being piled on people, and people are just burning out. And so making sure that they ensure that they take better care, self-care and well-being, and manage their work-life balance, working long hours. I do an audio room on LinkedIn, and one of the things we spoke about there is your mental health and the impact it has on burnout, because people don't understand, like, they don't take vacation. I can't afford to be out. Yes, you can afford, because if you get sick, you will forcefully be out.
That part.
And so we have to be able to take time, knowing if we're not there, the building is not going to crumble.
Mhm.
Things are going to continue. The business will continue. And that's why it's so important for us, as entrepreneurs, to scale enough. And because when you're the business and the business is you,
Mhm.
anything that happens, then the business just stops.
Mhm.
And so we have to be able to scale in a way where, even though I'm not around, that
Mhm.
there, people who are efficient and effective to carry on with whatever we're doing. And so being sure that you take the time off, get up, exercise, walk, do something. Don't be sitting at your desk for extended periods of
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
um, Find some way to walk around your building, do something if you can't get to the gym all the time, but ensuring that you take better self-care. Give the brain some time to reset,
Yeah.
and then you can go back and to where you were, whether it's building the business or just your projects in the office.
I love this. I love, and these are the tips that's in the work-life balance tips to a healthier and happier life. And there's two things that you shared that I wanted to touch on. Like when you first start out, it's like it's hard to step away from the business, and you have this mindset of I can't step away. And oftentimes it's because we're in survival mode. And it's like if I step away, then I'm not gonna make the money, right? Especially if this is your only source of income, right? But because that used to happen to me too, and sometimes it even happens now. But then I have to be reminded that I'm partnered with God on this, right? And so wherever there's a gap for me, I got to trust that God will give grace and He will take care of me. One thing my business coach said yesterday to us was, he was like, "You're not going to go hungry." Right.
Hmm.
Oftentimes we think, okay, if the clients aren't coming in and the leads aren't coming in, we're going to go hungry. But we have to remember that a lot of us, we built our business on a firm foundation, which is Jesus Christ. And if that's the case, then He's going to take care of us. So it really is important to follow these tips that you share, so that when we are building, we're not building to a place that we get burnt out and then we can't serve, because we can't serve from an empty place. So I find that
Absolutely.
this work-life balance sheet that you're sharing with us is super important. I know we only have 4 minutes left, but I want to ask you this one last question. As you talked about it, you said, as a business owner, you do want to scale to a place where your business can run without you. What is one thing that you did in your business to help you to scale to the next level in your business?
One of the things I had to do, I added additional coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I added additional ICF coaches that I know would bring the same level of outcomes as I would. Because we have to learn to trust others, right? Sometimes we think like we're the only person who can do something. But I don't like to be the smartest one in the room. I like to know that if there's someone I can pull from, CEO or not. You don't want to be the smartest one. I heard, a pastor said one day, if you are the smartest one in the room, then your circle is dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
Because when everyone is pulling virtue from you, yes, we have God as our source, but
Mm-hmm.
who do you pull from? Who pours back into you if you're pouring into everybody else? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to be really mindful that we are not the smartest one in the circle. And
I
so
love
I would bring in other coaches that, can bring a value to my clients as well, so that I'm not the only one, because I was the only one for a long time grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And if tired or not, you know how that works. You still got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I have a team of other qualified coaches and project managers on my team, I'm better able to manage my time and have that time for self, to take a trip, to do something else, and know that the company is still going to keep running.
I love it. I absolutely love this. And I think for a lot of business owners, that pivotal part is bringing on a team that helps them. And I use this analogy with my clients, which is one of the first things that Jesus did when he started his ministry was he brought on disciples. He did not try to run that ministry by himself. He said, "Where's my 12?" And he got his 12. And like we get to a point where we are going to have to trust others, and we're going to have to create an environment where the others who are coming in becomes an extension of ourselves, so the business can continue to grow. Because if we
Yes.
keep just relying on us, we're going to burn out, we're going to be exhausted, we're going to be too tired, and then we cannot serve. So I really loved everything that you were sharing today about mindset, the negative thought processes that happen, how to overcome it, but then also like a tip that you can implement just so that you can scale your business, which is bringing on a team. I feel like all of these things are super helpful to help you go from wisdom to wealth, right? Like you were dropping the wisdom, and this is how you end up going to wealth. So thank you so much for sharing that. As we wrap up, do you have any final words to share with the audience?
Yes, anyone who may be in the audience who have deciding to start a company, or even if they do have an existing company, make sure that you have an exit strategy. Because a lot of times we don't do that, and then we like, where is the company going from here? Is it building generational wealth? Is it a plan to sell the company? What is that exit strategy? Because at some point the company has to sunset in some way, whether it folds, and we hoping that's not what happened. Does it get passed down to a generation? Because right now we should be about building generational wealth. That's where I am right now. Or do we sell it? Right. So we want to make sure as we build these businesses, we build it to last, in a way where it can continue to grow and you can leave that legacy behind.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom today. I feel like you really embodied this title. Does knowing your worth equals growing your wealth? And it is, right? Because knowing your worth allows you to implement the things that you need to implement. And even when you just talked about knowing the end game, focusing on building generational wealth, if that is what you desire. So we just want to thank you so much for being a guest with us today. If anybody wants to get access to the work-life balance, tips to a healthier and happier life, feel free to click this link that's inside both of the chats, but you can also get access to it. It'll be inside the caption when this video gets released. Everyone have a wonderful day today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow with another powerful episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
You just watched an OG episode of Wisdom to Wealth. Hope you soaked up all that wisdom, because we got fresh episodes coming out every 2 weeks. And if you really want to learn how to use AI to create content that sells, go hit that AI Content to Cash Challenge link in the description or show notes. It's where CEOs learn to make their content look like their bank account. Premium. Stay wealthy, stay wise, and don't forget to let your light shine.